Hi loves, and welcome back to my channel. I am RaeKrystine. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, thank you so much for continuing to go on this journey with me of YouTube. I really appreciate everyone's support from all the videos and hearing all your feedback, so continue giving that to me because it gives me new ideas for upcoming content. In today's video, which I'm sure you could tell from the title, we're going to talk about my body positivity journey. So this is about kind of like how I went from like really strict dieting and weight loss to where I am today, and how my mental state and how I've accomplished those things. So stay tuned to learn more. So I do have some notes right here that I want to make sure of topics that I cover. So you might see me kind of glancing down a few times to make sure that I talk about these things. So the first thing is, I think for many years, it's at least through like my 20s and teens, it was kind of like you had to be skinny. You had to be like supermodel thin. Not until recent years, I would say within like the past 5 to maybe 10 years, maybe not even 10 years, 8 years or so, it's been more accepted of having this curvy figure. You see a lot of, influencers or celebrities going and getting fat injections into their butt to make them more curvy, and having hips and big boobs and all this stuff. Growing up, it was always like, oh, you had to be 120 pounds, you had to be super thin, your abs have to show, that kind of thing. So even when I was in college, I remember like just being obsessed with working out. I remember going to the gym on campus, riding the elliptical for 30 to 45 minutes while studying, just to make sure that I got my cardio in. I would drink Slim Fast shakes for breakfast, sometimes for dinner, and throw in these lean cuisines for dinner. Now this wasn't like necessarily healthy eating, but that was what I was, influenced with as far as what you needed to kind of lose weight or be thin or to maintain. I remember being like getting on the scale and being 140 pounds and being like, this is unacceptable. I need to be 130. I need to be 130. And I would stand in front of the mirror and like grab on my hips and be like, oh, I wonder what it'd be like to just like not have these hips and just be super sleek and straight. And it was kind of my thought process. I'm not sure like if it was something that I went through like growing up, or just all of the, I don't know, surrounding stuff that we were getting thrown at as being teenagers. So that was like what I remember from my college days. So after having my daughter, my body like really bounced back. I had gained about 70 pounds with her pregnancy. And my body, I don't remember really doing any type of hardcore exercising or dieting during that time. Now I was 19, so it takes into account like your body does just snap back a lot faster when you're that age. So I do remember like just kind of doing normal eating, nothing like out of the ordinary, but I was really busy because I was taking care of her, so I feel like that had a lot to do with it. Before I had my son, I remember signing up with this online personal trainer, and he had sent me like meal plans of like basically very strict diet and exercise. Like I had to work out before I would eat breakfast. I had to do cardio before I ate breakfast. And my breakfast was like egg whites with spinach and like turkey bacon. And I would eat that every single day. I remember he did allow me to eat like some red meat on high carb days and milk with a protein shake on high carb days. And that was like a milkshake to me at that point. So I was really like strict dieting. And then what would happen is I would get tired of it, and then I would binge because I've had restricted my diet so much that all the stuff that I didn't have, I would end up binge eating. And the only meat that he allowed me to have was fish and chicken breast. So it was like every meal was just like fish and broccoli and chicken and green beans. And I did that for probably maybe like 4 or 5 weeks, I think. And then I was just kind of, over it. And then I did the binge eating thing again, which is like a constant thing that you'll hear me talk about throughout this. Now, after I had my son, which I was about 23 when I had my son, I had gained another 70 to 80 pounds with that pregnancy. And the pressure I felt after that to really get in shape, because I wasn't losing the weight like I did with my first. So I tried to do some like dieting on my own and exercise, but it wasn't really working. And there was a local personal trainer in my community that was putting on a like weight loss competition. So I'm a very competitive person, so like I immediately like signed up and was like, oh my god, I could totally do this. She provided the meal plan and the workout plan, and you did a weigh-in with measurements, and then you weighed at the end with measurements, and it was an 8-week long program. So for 8 weeks, every single day, I ate egg whites and turkey bacon with the spinach. I would have a snack of like Greek yogurt and flaxseed, and then for lunch and dinner was like chicken breast or white fish, and I could have like a snack of string cheese. And that was it. I think I calculated it to be only about 1,100 calories a day that I was eating. On top of that, I was working out. I had to do cardio 2 times a day for 45 minutes each time. So I'd wake up early in the morning and go do it, and then again at night. The first time I did her little weight loss competition, I did lose 16 pounds in the first 8 weeks. So for me, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is fantastic. I'm losing all this weight. I think she did another one that a few weeks later, I joined that one, same kind of thing. I knew what to expect. I went ahead and completed that one. And at the end of that one, I was at my lowest weight of 132 pounds. So with this one, is kind of really where the mentality started of, oh my gosh, like if I eat a cheeseburger from McDonald's, I'm gonna be fat. Like instantly I'm gonna gain all 80 pounds back. So I started to develop this fear of like eating what was considered a bad food. And then I was afraid that I was gonna gain all the weight back and get like fat. So I started to kind of get obsessed with eating healthy and working out. Now, at this time, I was a stay-at-home mom, so like, what other responsibilities did I have? I was like, all I did was work out, and I could take the kids with me, and they were like toddlers and infant. I would take them in the stroller and go for a walk. I would take them to the childcare at the gym and work out, and I could focus on my eating. It was like that's all I did. That was like my job, So I started to really start to notice, well, now looking back, I noticed that that's kind of where the unhealthy and what I consider unhealthy start of relationship with food. Like you can have an unhealthy relationship with healthy food. And that was like my obsession. And when I would eat those bad things, whether it was a cheeseburger or whether it was a baked potato, with sour cream and butter on it. When I would eat those things, I would punish myself in ways of like, oh, tomorrow I have to work out like extra hard because I ate like crap yesterday, or I had a cookie and I shouldn't have had a cookie. And so it became this like vicious cycle where I would get angry with myself. Like, why did you do that? And then if I fell off once, then I would binge eat the next day because I'd be like, oh, well, screw it. Like I've messed up everything. I might as well just have all the things I want. And it was just like this constant cycle of like just abuse to myself mentally about what I was eating. From there, I decided that I wanted to take my nutrition and exercise to the next level. And I was like, okay, now is the time that I'm going to prep for a bodybuilding competition. So I hired the trainer, the online trainer, because he also did bodybuilding prep. And I started even restricting my diet more. So I was not allowed to have salt. I was not allowed to have red meat. I was not allowed to have dairy. It was strictly fish, chicken, and vegetables and egg whites every day for 4 weeks. I would have to send him pictures of myself every day so he could see like how my body was responding to things. I had a strict workout that probably took me about 2 hours a day to complete, including the cardio that I had to do. And so about 4 weeks into my bodybuilding prep, I couldn't do it mentally anymore. It was just really putting a strain on me, the amount of pressure I felt. So I ended up deciding, nope, that's it. And from that point forward, I spent the next like 4 years trying to be 132 pounds again. Like, no matter what, I just was a yo-yo dieter. Like, I'd be eating really healthy and then I would eat really bad, and I would eat really healthy and eat really bad, and it just became this vicious cycle that I would have. So I decided that I had to change. I think I was about 170 pounds. And to me at that time, I was like, oh my God, I'm so fat. I was about 170 pounds, and I decided that I think it's time to change my mentality. I still felt that I looked attractive, but I was still struggling with the fact that I wasn't that 132 pounds that I had wanted to be. So I started to change kind of my social media. I started to follow more women that were curvy, body positivity, curvy models, just more like myself. And I started to unfollow the ones that were the super fit women that pretty much all they did all day was work out, because that was their job, was to be an influencer of, fitness programs on Instagram or on Facebook. And I started to kind of, like, for me, that was just like shedding the old me. I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. That's not how I want to be. So that really helped me. And then every day, if I was looking at social media, the positivity of seeing these women influenced me in a better way of just being more accepting of my curves and how I looked. So I stopped prioritizing the gym and eating healthy and started to really live my life. I was okay with being out in social situations and going to happy hours and, hanging out with my friends and eating whatever they were eating without feeling the guilt of, oh my gosh, I have to get into the gym and I have to do this. And at this time in my life that I started to make these changes, I was single. I had been divorced from my kid's dad, and I was kind of out in the dating scene, and I really had some concerns that no one was going to love me because I wasn't 132 pounds. I keep referring back to that number because that really was the number that was like stuck in my head, that was my goal. I will say that then I met my husband, and he completely changed all of my fears and thoughts that I had associated with that, because to him, he saw me at 170 pounds or 180 pounds, not at 132. So he didn't know what I even looked like back then. And it's weird to think that that really played a part, but he loved me for how I was and all my curves, and whether I had a little belly fat or a little fat on my hips or, under my chin or whatever, he was perfectly fine with that. And that was very comforting for me as far as, how I felt about myself. I think that for us as women, we get so caught up in the, oh, I used to be skinny, and well, look at me, I used to be like this, and he fell in love with me when I was skinny, and now look at me, he probably doesn't love me anymore. And those were just thoughts that I think a lot of women have in general, and I'm here to tell you, like, don't worry about that. It's okay. You don't have to be skinny. And I think I'm a lot like a lot of other women when it comes to body positivity and your struggle with it. There are days I wake up and I look in the mirror and I'm like, damn, bitch, okay, like, okay. And then there's other days where I'm just like, oh God, like, I feel so puffy and bloated and I'm not attractive. And, I think that we all go through those ups and downs, and it's a constant like battle within ourselves to just be accepting of who we are. And it's okay to have curves, because my body type isn't going to be like the supermodel body type. This is me. This is my body type. And I think that there's a lot more attention to curvy women and how to be sexy, and it's okay. There's definitely things that I'm still learning to be comfortable with. Like, I'm not someone who's just like gonna rock a crop top and walk all around town with it, but I'm okay with wearing jeans. I'm okay with having cellulite on my legs, and I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I've gotten over that part. One thing that I will say has been my biggest mental challenge, or something that I kind of overcame, was, I don't know if this is associated at all, but I want to share my experience in case anyone else has had this experience. So For the last 8 years, I have been on the Mirena IUD, which is a hormonal IUD. So I decided that I no longer wanted to be on hormones. I just am over it. I want to see how my body was naturally without any type of added things in it. So I recently, earlier this year, switched out to the Paragard. If you're not familiar with that, it's a non-hormonal IUD. And oh my God, it has changed my mental state so much. Like, as far as, I don't have these really crazy mood swings. I don't have these like drastic like changes in how I feel about myself. I notice it is easier to lose weight. I will say that. I also, it's almost like it messed with my head. Like, if I looked in the mirror, I would see this extremely large person, and it wasn't realistic of who I was. And I don't know if that had anything to do with the Mirena or not, but you know, having removed the hormones from my body, I have noticed that my water retention has gone down a lot. Like, I used to be very swollen and puffy, and I don't experience that anymore. You know, even just fitting in clothes, I can tell like I've dropped a size in clothes. So overall, it's been a really great experience for me, and I'm not sure if anyone else has had that, but I do recommend it. I think that from a very young age, I was on hormones from when I was like 15 all the way up until just this year. So you got to figure, for almost 20 years of my life, I've been taking these hormones, and there are side effects to it. Like, you know, the doctor told me, oh no, it's not, it has no weight gain, you know, whatsoever. Like, you'll be fine. From the moment I got the Mirena the second time, my body reacted very differently to it. And I ended up gaining almost 40 pounds in 2 years without anything else in my life changing. So to me, I just was like, you know what? We're just gonna get rid of it. So I wanted to share that with you guys too, if anyone's had that experience. So I do want to talk about, like, you know, yes, I do still diet, but let me explain to you what Weight Watchers dieting is. It allows me to eat the foods that I want to eat, but telling me like, oh, you know, portion control it. Like, I can still go have pizza if I want to have pizza. I can still have ice cream if I want to have ice cream. It's not this restricting diet of, you know, turkey bacon and chicken and fish, and then like me craving these things and then binging on them. I don't have that. My whole goal with Weight Watchers is to live my life, but have this healthy relationship with food. And I think Weight Watchers is helping me develop that, where there are times I don't even log stuff into the app because I just automatically know, like, okay, portion control. Like, I put 3 tablespoons of creamer into my coffee and a scoop of collagen. Like, that's my coffee every day. I don't need to, you know, regulate that. I try to be cautious of, you know, what size, you know, baked potato I'm eating, or steak, or how many pieces of pizza I have. And I think that's really helped eliminate like the binge eating aspect of things that I was going through, of like strict dieting to binging way on the other side for weeks, and feeling guilty about it. I don't feel guilty if I, you know, eat 4 cookies last night and then wake up today. I'm not like, oh my gosh, I have to go for a run, or I have to do cardio or whatever. And a little update, like, I haven't done shit, okay? I have not even gone to the gym. I mean, first of all, they're all closed here anyways. And even if they were open, I wouldn't be going because I'm not comfortable with COVID. But it's also 105 here, so I'm not going out and like going for a walk or bike riding. My husband and I occasionally will, but that's just to like do something. It's not like this pressure I feel with myself to like get out there and go for a bike ride because I have to do it. I will say that I still do not have what I would consider a healthy relationship with food. Am I getting better? Absolutely. Am I embracing my curves? Absolutely. I really want to thank you guys for watching, and all the positive feedback you give me really helps me be more comfortable in sharing these things, because I'm realizing like all these, you know, all these people are in the same situation that I'm in. We're not categorized into one group of women and another group of women as far as our body styles. We're all very different. We're all very unique, and it's okay. You know, all those fears of like, oh, I'm never gonna find somebody, or I'm never gonna meet anyone who's gonna love me for me. Well, you will meet someone that loves you for you and the way that you look, and you don't have to feel this pressure to be a certain type. Now, I know there's a lot of controversy kind of in the YouTube world of what is body positivity and how can you say you're body positive when you diet and you do all these things. Well, this is body positivity for me, from my point of view. You know, I'm not sitting here saying that body positivity is someone who doesn't diet. Like, this is just my opinion. These are my opinions that I wanted to share with you guys. So I just want to thank you all for, you know, tuning in on my little journey on body positivity and joining me along the way. If you guys have any comments or any stories you'd like to share, you know, make sure you leave that down below. And please don't forget to subscribe. I'm producing weekly content at this point, so feel free to subscribe so you get those notifications of any videos I have upcoming. And also don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And thank you so much for joining me.